Hallelujah, the wait is finally over. Lufthansa got Allegris and we have one of the best seats on this flight today. Lufthansa and its customers have been waiting for years for an aircraft with an interior that is not completely outdated but modern. Now the time has come, everything is new in all classes. But is it perhaps just a normal modern cabin like the ones other airlines have been flying for years already? Are service and catering still lagging behind? Is something being exaggerated here that is not special at all? Or is it maybe just really great? Might this even bring their 5th star back? We'll find out on the inaugural flight to Toronto, Allegris' second ever international flight. And here we are in the brand new Airbus A350 of Lufthansa in the super brand new Allegris Cabin. The first flight was yesterday, an international flight was yesterday to Vancouver, and this is the inaugural flight to Toronto, the second international flight at all of this cabin, so it's really gonna be pretty interesting how this is gonna be. Well, before boarding I went to the lounge. There's a business or senator lounge to choose from depending on your status, and then boarding was still quite exciting because there was still some inaugural flight feeling. There's a couple of bloggers here on board, couple of vloggers, and so the whole gang is here, so to speak. So that is also really nice. And then boarding was really pretty special because it really is different from what we're used from Lufthansa in the past years. First of all, they have a nice welcome drink. So I got greeted with a Lufthansa special welcome drink that's called Avionic, and it tastes really quite nice. And really, it's a very nice creation. We will talk about that later. And then also they have a very nice amenity kit. Shockingly beautiful, one of the most beautiful actually that I've had in the past years in business class. So that was really a very nice surprise, very nice welcome by the crew, and all the rest we're gonna talk about later. During the flight I will of course also talk about how I booked this flight, how much it cost, and how you can maybe book it even much cheaper than the real price, but without using credit card points. There is a way, all about that later. Now I think we're gonna start in a moment.
Da jederzeit Turbulenzen auftreten können, sind Sie verpflichtet, sich anzuschnallen, sobald Sie Ihren Sitzplatz eingenommen haben. Stellen Sie Ihre Rückenlehne senkrecht und klappen Sie die Fußstütze ein.
But before we really get started, here are a few impressions of the cabin. The new Allegris cabin on the Airbus A350 has 267 seats, 201 in economy, 24 in premium economy, 38 in business, and 3 or 4 seats in first class. First class comes a little later and will then offer a lot of privacy. In the middle, instead of 2 seats, there will be a double seat without partition, which transforms into a large double bed. So we're still climbing and steering through very beautiful big clouds outside. Well, the first impression on an Airbus A350 is always really great because it's just a very good aircraft. The air quality is much better than on most other aircraft, and also the noise is much less than on most other aircrafts. So that's really nice. But then when you look around in this cabin here at the Lufthansa Allegris, you're really pretty stunned and amazed. I am, because it's such a big step forward. I can say that already now. Of course, we're gonna look at everything in detail and see if it's really so great as the first impression is. But then I also said that this seat is actually one of the best in business class. Now you would ask, why would that be one of the best in business class? I mean, business class is already very good, and then they are all the same. But no, it's not like that. I will talk a little more about that and how big the differences can be here in this cabin. But before that, let's have a little tour of this very seat. Along with first, the Allegris Business Class is the real revolution at Lufthansa because the previous product was already over 10 years behind the international competition. All seats now have aisle access, higher seat shelves, a large TV screen, noise-cancelling headphones, Bluetooth for connecting your own headphones, socket, wireless charging for your cell phone, and you can adjust the seat temperature. That's a novelty. There's also a tablet on the seat with which you can control all functions, so now we have absolutely arrived in modern times here, and in a few aspects this seat beats quite a number of the best airlines. But now really bad news for those who don't like decisions. You can choose from 7 different types of seats in this business class. When you board this plane in business class, it becomes very clear right away that the seats are very different from each other. Actually, there are very different seats. That's 4 in the front and 4 in the rear business class cabin. That's business class suites. So that's an extra class between first class and business class in the future. And there you will have to pay an extra amount of money to get onto those seats on top of your business class seat. But also the other seats are also very different from each other, and altogether we have 7 different categories. So we have altogether, first of all, the classic seat. That's the seat by the aisle. It's actually on the left or right side of the plane, on the aisle or by the aisle, and that's just a normal seat. You have direct aisle access and you have the table towards the window. Then you have the privacy seat. That's the direct window seat. You're directly by the window and you have the table here towards the aisle. Now it's shaking a little, but that's what can happen when you go through a cloud. So you have the privacy seat. You're a little more away from the aisle, and that gives you privacy, and you're here by the window like this seat, but a little different. Then you have the kind of a throne seat, so that's a single seat in the middle of the plane, in the center of the plane, where you have a table left and right, no neighbors, and also direct aisle access, and your feet go just in the middle, in the little thing there for your feet. Then you have kind of double seats where you can sit together as a couple. It doesn't go down as a double bed because there's a clear separation between the 2 seats, but you can sit together there. And then you have the extra long bed seats where the seat goes down to a 2.2 meter long bed. So that's a really long bed, right? And then of course you have the seat where I'm sitting. That's the privacy seat with bassinet. So that will be for a mother with child. You would have extra space here for your child, and I was just hoping that there won't be so many mothers with a child on board this flight, so I can sit here and talk about this very nice and spacious seat, because this is the most spacious after the business class suite. And I mean, my pregnancy is just over, as you can see. They wouldn't have let me go on the seat otherwise. The business class suites are their own class within the Allegris cabin, and there's differences here too. So here are the suites in detail. All suites have doors. The 4 single suites are window seats and have plenty of storage space to the side. All suites have a decently long bed without restricting your feet, and unlike all other business class seats, there's a seat cover too. The 2 double suites are in the middle. Depending on the status of your relationship or interest in a relationship, you can completely lower the wall in between, or better yet, close it halfway or completely. So I think the service is gonna start in a moment, but before boarding I also went to the lounge a little bit. In Munich, also like in Frankfurt, you have access to quite a lot of lounges, the business lounges and also several senator lounges, and then there's also a few first class lounges, always depending on your status, depending on your ticket and so forth. So anyway, now I'm really looking forward to this service here. I'm really curious. Service is starting now, and I'm so happy because I'm so hungry, because really my last food I had was yesterday in the evening, and now it's already 5 p.m. on the next day. So anyway, service started with an amuse-bouche, and that was some Italian antipasti, some olives, some dried tomatoes and pecorino cheese, and then some sparkling water, and then I got some champagne, a glass of champagne. That's du Val de Roi Brut Reserve. So that's around $40 to $50 the price. So actually that's really quite a nice bottle for business class, and so you can see they didn't look for the cheapest champagne, but really already a nicer one. Then we got the menus. The menu says there's 3 different kinds of appetizers, 3 different kinds of main courses, salad in between. There's a fish main course, a meat main course, and a vegetarian one. And then we have cheese and dessert. And then before landing, there's another meal service. Then when it comes to the drinks, we have, first of all, Avionic, the new aperitif of Lufthansa that was just created now for Allegris. But if I'm not completely wrong, I think there was already a recipe in the 1950s. I didn't drink it back then, as you hopefully can imagine, but I think that's what it was called. Anyway, they said it's got citrus and meadow flowers, like wildflowers, and very special things like that. So I really tasted it. I didn't, but it tasted really very good and really very special, quite sublime actually. And then there's 3 different white wines, 3 different red wines, of course all the spirits in the end, and some German beers, 5 different German beers, soft drinks, and they have 10-year-old grams tawny port, and of course coffee, tea, espresso. And we got the appetizers, and I asked if I could have maybe 2 different kinds of appetizers just to show to you, of course, because this is not my hobby. Well, actually it is my hobby. but I'm not flying to Toronto to get to Toronto, but actually to show you this flight. So I show you the two appetizers, and that's smoked fillet of char, that's kind of a trout, and then some kind of beef carpaccio, more roast beef, and then there's some salad. And something special here, they created a new bread only for Allegris, and that's this bread from a quite known baker in Germany, as far as I have known, or as far as I know. And this is some butter from France, really nicely handicraft butter. So. Did you know that German bread is actually UNESCO World Cultural Heritage since 2010? So it's not French bread or Italian or Spanish bread, but it's German bread with over 3,000 different varieties of bread. And actually this one is really very good. I thought actually that it was not a special thing to have this kind of bread, but it is. And the baker is called Axel Schmidt. He is the World Baker 2022. I'm not from the bakery business. I'm an opera singer, but I guess it's a very important competition. And he made this bread exclusively for Lufthansa Allegris. And they really succeeded. The only thing is it's not so easy to get it off this paper that it's wrapped in. Other than that, it's really good. So we've arrived at cheese and dessert, and before that I had some asparagus and veal steak as main course, and actually that was really the order on the menu, and that was also the order on the plate, because the asparagus was so much bigger than the rather minimalistic veal steak. That was how it was. And the potatoes were very good too. Actually, it was all really fine, very good. And with it I had some red wine. I had some red wine from Portugal, from Alentejo region. Really nice and very special. Very typical smell. So, and then I had some Bordeaux also, just to try it, from Médoc. Also very special Médoc smell and taste. Actually, it's just Cru Bourgeois. They're in a price region that I would just buy myself, or maybe a little more if I invite friends or when I invite friends. But these wines here are not so expensive, and yet they're really good. So sometimes it's not only the price, but also just somebody who knows about it, and so they did a very good choice. And now we're having dessert, and before some cheese, and that's this little cheese platter, but it's really very nice and very well selected actually. So we have a wildflower cheese and some, what was that? A Montagnolo. And so that is a really nice selection, to be honest. And then after that I have some salt caramel tart with some chocolate crumble. So that doesn't sound so bad. Now just got the Avionic drink pure on the rocks. As a welcome drink, it was already mixed with tonic water, and now it got it pure, and it's so delicious, so tasty. And of course it's only exclusively for Lufthansa. You cannot buy it somewhere else. So if you want to fly on Lufthansa, it's already worth for this. And I'm so embarrassed I had to order another bottle. What is also really great is this here. It's a fruit secco made of apple and red currant and so on. So it's of course not a prosecco, but kind of, just without alcohol, and it is so tasty. It has nothing to do, of course, with champagne or prosecco, but it's so tasty. And the nice thing, in Germany you can buy this in a supermarket. I will do that, because with Avionic you cannot. If you like this and the well over 100 flight and travel reports on the two Traversing Flight channels, then please give me a thumbs up, comment on the video, and subscribe to the channel with the little bell next to it to make sure that you don't miss out on any of the exciting videos that are released here. You'll help the channel with all its free content to grow and become more visible. Keep looking around Traversing Fly. There's for sure a few more reports that are just the right ones for you. It's so great to have you here. And here's the amenity kit. The Lufthansa Business Class amenity kit on this flight was a limited edition of Lufthansa's Luggage series, and inside was the already well-known shopping bag, plus sleeping mask, socks and hand lotion and lip cream by Occitan. A really nice hardshell amenity kit. Let's just hope that limited does not mean that it will go down in quality again. I recently published a dedicated report just about amenity kits here on Travelsing Fly, so here's a comparison of a few amenity kits from other airlines in business class. Do you already know the Travelsing Fly website? It's in German but translates pretty well into English with a translation tool. Without endless commercials on the site, you can find lots of articles about airlines, hotels and travel destinations. And of course there's also numerous articles on topics that you cannot find here on the YouTube channel, as well as simply explained guides on the subject of miles and points. So now it's time to try out the bed, so let's just go down to the bed position, and I just have to press the button here and move down the camera a little. So while I do that, it's just very interesting to see that every different seat category here within business class has a very different bed. For example, this one is the best one. I have to say that it's really true. I tried out all the seats here now, all the seat categories, and I'm most happy with this one. It has very, very ample legroom, very wide to all sides, and then you have this on the side. You see, I put my backpack here, actually on the place where the baby should be. There's no baby here, so here's my backpack, and you could normally pull off this here, so you have all the space here for your child, so that's really fantastic. And then as I said, there's a lot of room here, a lot of space here. This is not removable, but I mean, if you're sitting here alone like me, that's really fantastic. But if you have the classic seat, for example, you have no legroom. It's so very restricted. Like, I'm not a very tall person, not at all, but my feet just met the end of the bed. That never happened in my life, really, and I've been on many business class seats in my life, on many airlines, and it was really ending where my feet ended. And also, I pushed the ceiling of the foot coffin with the tip of my toes, and left and right there was no space, so it was really like cemented into the foot coffin. So that was really not a great experience. So the classic seat is really just for really not tall people. Then the privacy seat is okay, it's also not really spacious. The extra space seat, there you have the extra space. Actually, when you sit, you have left and right two tables. When you have when you go down to a bed position, it's a little restricted also, not as much as the classic seat, but it's also not so much space around your feet. For me, that's very important because I just cannot sleep otherwise. Other than that, the business suite, of course, has again leg room, but I mean, this here is fantastic. Of course, if there's a mother with a child on board, she gets priority, and that's just right. That's just normal. And if not, you might be lucky and get this kind of seat. Now, when we already say something that's not so great, let's have something that's really fantastic about Lufthansa and also some other or most other European carriers. You can take 2 times 32 kilograms from A to B. So that's really a fantastic amount of luggage. Whereas with most Asian carriers, you can only bring 40 kilograms with you. For example, Emirates, Qatar, Etihad, Singapore Airlines, they all just allow 40 kilograms of luggage. And I know that almost every time at check-in when you board Qatar or check-in for Qatar Emirates, so there's always big dramas going on at check-in because people just don't know. They're used to an airline like this one that allows 2 times 32 kilograms, so that's over 60 kilograms, and then they have to pay a lot, many hundred euros extra if they have much more than 40 kilograms. So this is really a big plus for this airline. Talking about luggage, sometimes it's not so easy to find the right one. For a year now I've been traveling with the luggage provided by Level 8 and I couldn't be happier. Thanks to the special design, even larger things can be packed into the Level 8 Voyager. The interior is also pretty great, and thanks to the extra handle on the front, this suitcase won't cause you back pain when lifting it into the trunk, even when fully packed. I also love the aluminum carry-on, which is as stable and safe as it is stylish. It's perfectly equipped inside with double removable compartments, and the wheels move smooth and fast. You can get all Level 8 items at a great discount by using the link in the video description. Just enter the discount code before completing your purchase and then enjoy your great new luggage. So it's still an hour and a half until Toronto. We just got served a light dinner, and in my case it's some duck breast, so that's cold smoked duck breast, but there was also hot pasta as a dish, and then there's chocolate mousse and warm pretzel and a warm bread roll, and I got another glass of champagne. So I had one for the start and one now, and some sparkling water. I just have some thoughts again about the seat. It's a real big jump forward, a big step forward, and actually a jump forward for Lufthansa to this kind of seat category. We are back here in international waters, a very high level. So that's really very nice. You can be really proud about this product, Lufthansa. But there's some little things that I think could be really nicer. For example, the footrest. There's no footrest, of course, but they missed to have the seat more adjustable. You can bring it down to a bed or up, and all steps in between. But for example, you cannot bring up the footrest, so you can just sit with the legs up. That's not possible. You have to have them on the floor in that case. I know that's like talking about things that are not really super big problems. It's really first class problems. In this case it's business class problems, but you also pay a really high price for this. So I think it's justified to talk about things like this because they matter for this price. We're flying here over the, I think in English it's the St. Lawrence Stream or something like that. St. Lawrence Strom in German. And it's a place I've always wanted to be to. And in a few days I'm gonna go here by train and then by car. So I'm looking forward to that. Anyway, what I want to say is this crew here is really fantastic. And that's something that sets Lufthansa apart from many other airlines, also very highly renowned airlines, because the crew here is really very well trained. They know how to react. I mean, there's first of all, of course, they're very friendly, really lovely people here on board. But then they also know how to react in a difficult situation, personally maybe different between the passengers or something like that. And also, they are really trained so well. In case of emergency, I would completely give myself into their hands because they know what to do. They have that really fantastic training and they see this job as a lifelong career. Whereas when you fly on some, let's say, Middle Eastern carriers, yeah, you know the Middle Eastern carriers, I mean, they sometimes have the feeling they're just cast for beauty, how they look like models, and that they are kind of friendly also, but not really because they're selected as a career, as a long-time career. You have a feeling, and you see that also. They're at flight attendants maybe for 5 years, and then they choose something else. Here it's a lifelong career. You see, they really know about this job, they know about this business, they know about how everything works, and they are also interested in it, and that is really very nice. You feel very safe, you feel very well treated and respected as a customer, and it's always also a nice talk. That's a really nice thing to have as a passenger. The entertainment system got a huge upgrade in Lufthansa's Allegris cabin. The 4K TV screens are brilliant. There's a much bigger audio, TV and movie selection now. The flight show is top modern and interactive with a travel guide to multiple destinations, and there's 5 external cameras. The headsets are noise cancelling, however not of the best quality. How did I book this flight and how much did it cost? This flight to Toronto was over $5,000 one way, an incredibly steep price, so I booked the flight with miles. There were enough seats available, and Miles & More charges 56,000 miles between Europe and North America in business class. On top come $390 in fees, or just $120 for 22,000 miles more. But at over 8 cents per mile, that's a great redemption. You can also find out what good and really bad redemptions are on the Travel Think Fly website. You can also book Lufthansa with miles outside of Miles & More. Live Miles by Avionic, for example, is ideal because they don't charge the high fees like Miles & More does. During promotions you can buy miles pretty cheaply and then use them for Star Alliance flight. This flight would have cost 63,000 live miles. If you bought the live miles during a promotion, this flight would have cost less than $900 including fees, which was less than normal economy class. And availability here was great too. But how was this flight now? Well, first of all, the seat. I mean, the whole cabin is a revolution for Lufthansa. It's not a step forward, but it's a huge jump forward. And I'm sure this is something that Lufthansa was looking forward to for years. And also, of course, the passengers were looking forward even more for years. Anyway, now we've finally arrived in modern times, and we have a very nice seat. But then you also have to say, I'm the one who has probably the best seat just after the business suite. The business suite is a tiny bit better, but I think this is almost the same. And when you sit on a classic seat, it's a different story. It's no privacy, it's a very restricted leg room, and then it's a really different story, and there I'm not so sure. So it all depends on how much the seats gonna be extra, all the special seats, how much they will charge extra for those seats, and then we can talk again. Anyway, the crew, of course, is wonderful, very friendly. The catering was also pretty good. Nice food, nice beverages, the new Avionic drink that they created only for Allegris, and then we have this amenity kit. But then the amenity kit, when you read again, you see that it's a limited edition. So I hope they won't go back to what they used to have, this shopping bag that you get at any drugstore for $1.50. So that would be a big mistake. I hope they won't do that, because it was so nice to see something really valuable, kind of with a valuable feeling here at the Lufthansa Business Class when it comes to the soft product, to all these little things that really matter, because the little things really matter. And then also when you talk about privacy, of course, once you have a 1-to-1 seat configuration on many airlines, they already have seats that are private and give you some feeling of privacy at least, and they don't charge extra for that. So if they charge extra for a privacy seat and extra for what other airlines already give anyway, I wonder if that would be a very smart idea. Altogether we have to wait. There's so many things that are really great, and depending on the seat, this is really 5-star airline now, and depending on some other seat, it's not yet there, maybe 4.5. So the future is gonna tell us how it's gonna be, and now I said so many things, I said so many words, and yet I cannot give you a full conclusion because it all depends on where you are on this plane. Really interesting. arrived in Toronto. What an exciting flight. I hope you really enjoyed this report. I hope it gave you some valuable, good information. If yes, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Both are really important, and of course there's a lot of exciting and interesting reports about airlines and travel destinations worldwide waiting for you here on the channel, and one of those reports would be this one over here. Check it out and see over there in a moment here at Travel, Sing, Fly.